Welcome to the Big Play Cleveland Show. I'm Gabriella Cruz alongside Chris McNeil, Nick Padone. Cleveland sports are hot right now. Your Cleveland Guardians racing to the best record in Major League Baseball as of right now. Cavs doing well in the playoffs. We want to see them continue to be dominant. Let's go. Let them know. We got the NFL draft talk coming up. But, of course, I can't skip this over. Donkey Derby action that took place recently for Chris and Nick. How did it go?
How you feeling, Chris?
The Lake County captains, Nick and I, riding some donkeys against some other dignitaries from the Cleveland media. And I'm still sore, Nick. I don't know about yourself. To say I was riding a donkey is a little bit liberal because I just kind of ran alongside it while it ran, and I was trying to get on it. During the pre-festivity instructions, they're telling us that the donkeys are going to take off and you've got to jump on the things. Oh. And I thought he was kidding, and he was darn serious. And that was hard to get on.
Yeah, it was crazy. I don't think they were expecting it. I don't think we were expecting it. It was crazy. They're basketball donkeys. So these were not like racing donkeys. Like they are meant to play basketball in high school gyms for pep rallies and things of the sort. So not meant to be ridden on. We tried riding them. We failed.
You got some great content,
I believe we do have a package. Should we play it?
Roll the package.
We are racing donkeys.
There's no way in hell I'm winning this thing. I'm definitely afraid of animals. I did it for this person right here who's not even excited to see them. My goal is honestly just to make people laugh. I think the interest did it, and I might not even ride it, to be honest with you.
I know he looks like a plush toy.
Yeah.
He's extremely athletic.
Jesus.
Okay? So
why am I going on him?
Well, because I have to put small people
of course, dude. My whole life.
We have to deal with weight and donkeys, and so little people, little donkeys, big people, big donkeys. I know you're not. I know you're a guy. You're a grown man, but you're still a smaller size grown man.
I know.
Okay. You hang on to him. There's a freaking tornado.
Alrighty. So I'm going on the craziest donkey because I am the smallest person here. Dude, I have no idea what we just got into. They told us before, they were like, they might go straight, they might not, they might stay on the warning track, they might not. Go, baby, go! Oh, wrong way! There's a donkey on the loose! We gotta go this way. We gotta go this way. I don't know what to tell you. We gotta go this way. We gotta go this way. We gotta go this way. Look at Matt! Go like Matt! Oh! Go like Matt! Oh my God, no! No! Yo, hold on, stop. Ah! Go! Ah! Go! He completely lost it. They don't know who that belongs to. Oh, I'm out of shape. I fell off it. I'm out of breath.
You haven't even got on the donkey yet.
Huh?
You didn't even get on the donkey.
Dude, I fell off the thing.
You gotta get on it.
No, I'm not getting on. I'm not anymore.
I'm not even sure what just happened.
I will say, the 1 second that I was actually on top of it, I felt on top of the world. It was an adrenaline rush like none other. Then when I fell off, I was like, I gotta just make sure that this thing doesn't take off on me. I still have it. I don't really like it. I wish they'd take it from me. It was fun. Yeah.
Okay. Warning track.
I got 2 now.
But don't. You're not. Laying on the ground in front of my donkey. I was in first place.
I know.
I was in first.
I know. Everybody's heckling me. Everybody's heckling me about that.
I feel like there's this should be investigated. The race is under protest.
It was like a wreck, like a NASCAR. It was a wreck.
Yeah.
They didn't clear the course. It was me that was on the ground.
Usually a little pale guy on the ground kicking his legs and making my donkey jump when there's a wreck.
I bounced right back up.
Oh yeah, sure you did. Let's check the tape on that one.
Alrighty, here with Cavs Nicole, the winner. Got the trophy.
Donkey winner.
Got the roses.
I got everything.
Got everything.
Yeah.
You didn't fall off. You rode the whole thing.
No. I fell off in the initial beginning. I tried to jump on him. I busted my butt.
How are we gonna go celebrate?
I don't know, actually. I don't know that I can ever top this moment in my life right now, so this is just very exciting for me. But I got to ask you, how did you enjoy your experience on the donkey?
A reverse interview, I like it. It was good. It was good. I fell. I went like straight over it. I was only on it for probably like 1 second.
Did you do a somersault?
I did. I held on to it the whole way. I don't even know how.
That was the key. Toward the last stretch, I saw everyone else. They were just kind of like getting thrown off like mad over there. I'm like, if I can just hold on, I can see home plate, and I can do it. And sure enough.
The odds-on favorite to win. Matt didn't get it done. How'd you rate your performance though?
Well, first off, just got to thank everybody back at the stables here for a great donkey. Came off the warning track and just got a little bit free off of there and fell off the donkey. Got back on, and I thought we were doing pretty good. Had good in sprint there towards the finish line, but got in the wall off of 4. Came off of that. So just thanks for Abraham for giving his best effort there.
Got the full-blown fire suit on. Talk to me about that. Do you think it helped, or do you think it held you back a little bit?
No, honestly, it was fun to like go put this on, fully commit to the gig here today. Yeah, thanks for Blast for supporting me and all this stupid shit I do. No, it was actually nice because when I hit the ground, I don't have to worry about changing because I still got my change of clothes after this. Unlike you, who you got a little dirty there. So I got to go watch this for my next race.
Great time out here at Classic Park. Huge thanks to the captains.
That was crazy. It was like a crazy watching it, but living it real life was even crazier, I think.
Total chaos.
Yeah.
From beginning to end, as you could see there, people flying all over the place, donkeys just taking off. Ricky's donkey just kind of took off and was in a corner somewhere, and he didn't care. So it was fun, though.
The 30 seconds of the guy spouting off the clarification that you're a grown man but a small man.
Yeah, that's the story of my life. School pictures always in the front. You know, basketball team pictures always in the front.
He was funny. He's like, I don't even know what just happened.
Yeah. It was.
You're supposed to ride the donkey.
Yeah, he was like the people that were in charge of it were very loosely in charge of it. Like they didn't do a phenomenal job manning it. Ricky was getting like screamed at because his donkey got away, and there was probably some baby child labor or I don't know what. There was a little kid that was like chasing after him, yelling at Ricky. He's like, "You have to hold on to your donkey until the end.
It's in the waiver. You signed the waiver. You have to hold on to the donkey."
Ricky was like, "It's not my donkey. I don't care."
That is so awesome. That's really fun. That's cute. I like how these minor league teams are always thinking of doing fun things. And one of the cool things at the ballpark this year, I don't know if you guys noticed from our schedule, but we're going to have Bark in the Park at the
I saw that.
the big leagues.
Hammy's going to be pissed.
At Guardians.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Hammy, not a fan of Bark in the Park.
But I don't know. I like different things like that. That had to be so fun.
It was really cool.
It's like herding cats, only in donkey form. I mean, that's all it was. It's just like all
trying to
these donkeys
wrangle
all
them
over the
together.
place, wrangling them. It was impossible, but fun. It was a good experience. We also did some things in between innings that was fun. I did an eating contest. We had a running race. We played some musical chairs.
Oh, we got video of that too. So maybe we'll hold on to that for a rainy day. We got a packed show right now, but Chris, don't worry. We are saving that for a rainy day.
Just tell us real quick how many hot dogs you ate.
Only 2 hot dogs.
It was two
okay.
each. Yeah,
that was it.
Got it. So it was about speed, not about quantity.
Correct.
That's exactly right.
Nice.
Hayden Grove won the trophy of Glizzy champion.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, good job, guys. We got to keep our show moving here today. Let's take a break, and we'll come back with our Garage Beer sponsored interview to talk a little NFL draft. Welcome back to the Big Play Cleveland Show. I'm Gabriella Cruz alongside Chris McNeil, Nick Padone. We just did our whole Donkey Derby coverage, which was very exciting. Very proud of these two. You really showed off all of your athleticism and your skills. And now we're going to switch gears and talk a little NFL draft and fantasy football with our writer for Rotoballer. We've got Kyle Lindemann in studio. So thanks so much for joining us.
Glad to be here. Excited to be here. It's gonna be a fun week.
What are you hearing about the Browns' plans for draft night, Kyle?
Well, I think have to look at it like, okay, we don't have a first because of the Watson trade. They traded a couple later picks for Jerry Jeudy. So I think they got a pick back last week. So they've got 6 picks. Don't pick until 54. I kind of see them just standing pat, taking the best player available. Don't really have any glaring needs right now, which is great because like the Browns rosters, I think we can all agree is pretty stacked. Mm-hmm. So maybe that's not the perfect answer. I would just say they're just going to sit back at 54, kind of just let the draft come to them. I don't see them being like super proactive.
So Kyle, when they make that pick at 54, Who you think they're going to take?
I want to lean defensive line. I will say the surprise pick would be defensive tackle Michael Hall from Ohio State.
A little early, a little bit of a reach on that, perhaps.
So my thought with him is like, if he stays in school for another year, I think he's a bona fide top 20 pick next year. I really like Jonah Ellis, this kid from Utah. He's a legacy. His dad, Luther Ellis, played, I believe, 9 or 10 years for the Lions, went to the Pro Bowl a couple times. Slightly undersized, but he had 12 sacks last year. I think we know Andrew Berry's kind of selective with those. He's a little more selective with the 21-year-olds than Leonardo DiCaprio. So he likes his young prospects. So I think, 21 probably the good range for it.
Absolutely. Any wide receivers? I think that's going to be another hot one. Defensive tackle, wide receivers. I know they've met with a ton of these dudes. Like Troy Franklin was in Berea, and that's another guy that they met with at the Combine. What are you kind of hearing on the receiver front? Any fun names that are on there?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very deep wide receiver draft. Like we've got 3 guys at the top, and then like I've got like that 4 to 14 range. All those guys are ranked pretty evenly. I would say a guy who's kind of gotten some buzz would be Xavier Legette, like wide receiver from South Carolina. He didn't necessarily do a whole lot his first 4 years in college. We kind of learned a little bit of his backstory. Hard guy not to root for. There were some mocks with us kind of getting Lad McConkey. I don't really see – that's a wide receiver from Georgia.
Our producer almost just fell out of his seat over there.
I don't really see him falling that far. Trey Franklin, could be a guy. He's more of a vertical threat. Burner, he was 6'3", I believe – 187 at the Combine, so I like him too.
That's who I want, I think.
Now, a guy who's not going to fall to the Browns at all is Marvin Harrison Jr., but he is an Ohio State guy, a guy who we saw in college. Think there's huge upside for this guy. What's your evaluation with him at the pro level?
And where do you predict that he's going to go? Because I think right now it's to be decided for sure.
I'm going to say 4 to the Arizona Cardinals. They have the most picks in the draft. There's been some talk of them trading back. I mean, I think it would take a crazy, like if Drake May fell to 4 or something and Minnesota or somebody else just gave Arizona and made him an offer they couldn't refuse. I think with Harrison, he's just immediate plug and play. Like he really doesn't have any flaws to his game. He's maybe not as much of like a yak monster as maybe like Malik Neighbors, or he's maybe not as explosive. That's the other wide receiver from LSU he's been comped to. But I just love the way he runs routes. Like he's just so polished. He's a really, really hard worker. So he doesn't, like I said, doesn't do a ton after the catch, but I just feel like he's just so good from that like 10 to 15 yard range. Like what you're getting with him. So
assuming Caleb Williams is going to go 1, they did the Justin Fields thing already. It's kind of a surefire layup. Caleb Williams is a Bear. Number 2 with Washington is where the draft really begins, because we've heard that they've liked pretty much everybody. We've heard they like Drake May. We've heard they like the Heisman winner, Jaden Daniels. We've heard maybe J.J. McCarthy could even be a wild card into that spot. Who do you believe, as we sit here today, is the number 2 pick? Because to me, that's where the draft really begins.
For sure. And they, they traded away Sam Howell, a couple months ago for a pick swap, so they kind of tipped their hand. They're going quarterback. They kind of threw us all for a loop because they had that, meeting with all 4 of those quarterbacks at once, which kind of threw people off. Like, what are they thinking? I do believe the pick's going to be Drake May, despite the smoke screens. I just think he's the second best quarterback in the class. I just love everything he does, like off platform. He had the worst supporting cast of like all the 6 major quarterbacks in the draft. Like he wasn't throwing to Rome Odunze and those other receivers. So his best player the last 2 years was like a 3rd round slot receiver, Josh Downs, who's a pretty good player, but May really didn't have much of a supporting cast. I just believe that's going to be the pick for Washington, even though some people are leaning Daniels.
We already talked defensive line. We talked wide receiver for the Browns. What other position groups do you see Andrew Berry and co kind of targeting through this draft?
Well, I was kind of looking at guard, but Batonio and Corbett are locked up at least for 2 more years, and they're pretty expensive, and there's a lot of guaranteed money. So those guys are going to be on the roster for 2 more years. I would say offensive tackle, because I was looking at the betting odds for the Browns' first pick, and they had defensive line, wide receiver, offensive line in that order. It's a pretty deep tackle class, but like it kind of falls off a cliff. I would say probably around like pick 40. I would say if maybe they might consider a guy like Patrick Paul from Houston, but he's kind of in that DeJuan Jones mold where he's a really, really like big guy with long arms. Like he's got like a crazy wingspan. He's a true left tackle. I kind of have my questions about, Jed Wills long term. He's been injured. He's kind of showed flashes, but he's been inconsistent. Tackles are expensive. So, I mean, he's on his 5th-year option. So it's like, what happens with him going forward? If they're going to re-sign him, he could be expensive. I'm kind of going to botch the name, but there's a guy, Kieran Omega Dejai from Yale.
We'll go with it.
However you pronounce it, I'm sorry.
Much better.
No, that was really good.
He's probably more of a project at this point, but like I could potentially see him fall. He could be a guy that could groom for another year. There's another guy, Kingsley Suamatia from BYU. He's actually Penei Sewell's cousin.
They met with him.
Of the Lions.
Yeah.
I kind of see him a little bit more of a right tackle, though. He's a better run blocker. I think, eventually DeJuan Jones is obviously going to take over on the right side. He's kind of a bigger, kind of power tackle. I think the Browns kind of need someone more of a finesse, kind of true left tackle, a little bit more of a pass blocker. So I don't necessarily know how well that would fit, but, Sumatia definitely would fit like the traits that Andrew Berry likes, for sure.
For sure. And then, obviously they restructured Nick Chubb. That was a huge deal to bring him back to Cleveland. That needed to happen. I still think they probably are looking to draft his replacement, though, in this draft, right?
It's so tough because, like, Nick Chubb is, like, easily, like, one of the most popular players in the NFL. Like, my favorite, like, Brown probably ever. Like, I've always looked at, like, Nick Chubb as, like, a demigod. Like, oh, yeah, he tore his MCL, ACL. Like, he'll be back. He'll be fine. He's going to be, 29 this year.
Yeah.
I know Father Time's coming. I mean, I think they kind of drafted his replacement a little bit with the Jerome Ford pick. They brought in Deontay Foreman. They've still got Pierre Strong. They've got Nyheim Hines. So they've got a lot of depth. I mean, I do love this Trey Benson kid from Florida State. He was at Oregon for his first 2 years, had like a horrific knee injury, but he transferred to Florida State. He had he was basically had the most broken tackles in the last 10 years, like per PFF. He's a bigger back. I believe he's like 5'11", 215. He runs with a lot of power. I mean, if they really wanted to stir the pot, they could take him at 54. But there's a lot of guys in like the, 3rd round running back wise. That's probably where the best value is. But maybe Jalen Wright from Tennessee. But
has some celeb pick. We're always good to draft one Tennessee player per draft. Right. Get the boosters going. Cool. Kyle, thank you so much for popping in here, man. Tell everybody where they could follow along with you, read all your stuff as the NFL draft week is here.
Yeah, it's Luck is Made FF on Twitter. Pretty much have the link to pretty much everything I've written, videos. So I know Browns fans love the draft. I know that obviously we don't have a first-round pick, but as long as Watson can get back up to speed next year, hopefully, everything's going to pay off.
Yeah, what's your early predictions on next year?
I mean, I feel like the Browns have one of the most complete teams in the NFL. I mean, they don't necessarily have a weakness. I mean, obviously we need Chubb to come back and be, if he can be 85% of what he was. But, I mean, I would say 11-6 for me. The Ravens lost so many guys. Steelers still have question marks at quarterback. Like, obviously, it was smart to move on from Pickett. The Bengals are, obviously potent, but I don't think they have anywhere near as much depth as we do. So,
any thoughts on what the offense is going to look like this year with Ken Dorsey coming in as offensive coordinator?
I think, he kind of got a bad rap. Like, he was definitely the fall guy in Buffalo that, there was a whole drama going on with Diggs. I mean, their wide receivers weren't great, and they were just having a hard time. So Dorsey kind of took the fall for that. I think it's pretty clear Stefanski has wanted to be, more play action, more throwing the ball downfield.
Yeah.
But obviously with having Chubb, who, in my opinion, was the best running back in football when healthy, if you're a coach, you want to play to your team's strengths, not necessarily what you want to do. But I definitely think that we should be a little bit more pass happy this year with Dorsey for sure.
I agree with that.
Cool. Good stuff. Thank you, Kyle.
Thanks, Kyle.
Yep. Go Browns.
Go Browns. Alrighty, guys. We are going to step aside, and then Gab is going to take us through some fill in the blank. Don't go anywhere. More Big Play Cleveland show right after this.
Welcome back to the Big Play Cleveland show. We're going to get a little fill in the blank underway, especially with the Cavs in the playoffs and the excitement happening here in Cleveland. Blank impressed me the most in Game 1 of the Cavs Magic series.
Well, for the Cavs to be successful in this series and in the playoffs, you need Donovan Mitchell to be Donovan Mitchell and the one that we expected. And thus far, he has been that guy. Not only, 30 points, also his presence on the court. He had a fantastic three that he pulled out of nowhere as time expired. He had a tremendous just turning into the lane, then a feed off to Mobley. I mean, the guy is doing it all there on the court, and that's what the Cavs really need. They need him to be the leader that he is, and thus far we've seen that out of Donovan Mitchell, and hopefully he can keep that up.
Absolutely. And I'm going to go with Jared Allen. We were talking about him a lot. Mr. Consistency throughout the regular season. We needed to see it maintain in the playoffs, and it did. Jared Allen put on a very nice showing in game 1.
18 boards.
18 boards is huge. Obviously, you got to keep that alive, though. Just winning game 1 and just playing well in one game doesn't mean much. The Magic went into the game with the mindset of, we are going to do exactly what the Knicks did and try to beat up on Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. And for game 1, Jared Allen and Evan Mobley stood their ground. Definitely so Mobley. I saw Mobley throwing bows in the paint a few times. Awesome stuff out of our Cavaliers so far in this series.
I was going to bring that up. It was a little chippy out there, and it was nice to see because we don't want to have any of this. The lights are too bright or anything. We want to come prepared and we want to come aggressively. So
if the lights are too bright in the Amway Center in Orlando, Florida, then I don't know what to tell you because I just found out today that the Magic have fans because they're coming after you, Chris. So if the lights are too, I get the lights being bright at Madison Square Garden, but if they're too bright at Amway, we got some issues.
They get tourists there. I think that's about it in Orlando.
Well, what is your biggest concern with this Magic series? My biggest concern is?
Well, you touched on it there. It's toughness. It's us being able to impart our will down low. It's Jared Allen. It's Mobley down there. It's being able to deal with guys like Mo Wagner. Easy for me to say. Out there who's given us all kinds of fits. So we got to be able to overcome what we saw last year where we were come across as very soft as a team. This year, we have to be the harder team. We have to be the team that really imparts our will out there on the court.
I'm going to say, too, the one thing that concerns me about this, and the Cavs did a great job throughout game 1, don't let the Magic believe that they have a chance in this series. You got to keep your foot on the gas, put your foot on their throat. Don't let the Magic believe they're a good young team, and that's all they need is a belief that they're in this series, and they could catch fire really, really quick. So just don't let them even believe that they have a chance, and the Cavs will be fine.
Let's go Cavs. All right. The new white face masks and glossy finish helmets for the Browns are...
Great. Enough. We get it. Every year we're going to do something like this, right? Orange pants, new logo. We're going to a dog at midfield. Nice incremental changes, something to keep everybody talking about the Browns in the offseason. Nick, the most important things are coming up. It's going to be the draft. It's going to be the offseason. It's going to be getting set for this season. We got to see it on the field. I like it. I like the white helmets. I like going back to what we had in terms of the face mask. But at the end of the day, wins and losses are all I care about. I'm too old for this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it. I'll say I really liked the white face mask. That was the one thing on their uniform that was missing. The uniform is now perfect. Leave it alone. I know,
and they won't.
I know people are because now the league has implemented that you could put in a third helmet. Don't. You're the Cleveland Browns. The New York Knicks aren't changing their jerseys. The Boston Celtics, the Lakers, the Yankees, all these historic sports franchises leave their jerseys alone. The Browns, you guys finally got it right. We
had to ruin it to get it right. On the
exactly. We went through a decade of identity crisis, but we got it right. Keep the helmet with the white face mask.
Keeping? I mean, we've been changing all the time. Like
I don't know. I don't care. Just please keep it the same. Like right now, we have reached nirvana, and there's no reason to try to convolute it with anything else.
McNeil, you got to put that out on Twitter. Put a poll there, and then DM it to all of our Browns contacts.
That just to keep everything the way it is right now.
Keep it.
There's a lot of people pushing right now for the orange
Keep
jerseys to come back. And I'll just remind those people, our record in those orange jerseys is absolutely horrid. So be careful for what you ask for.
And I've heard from the inside that those are never going to happen. When they rolled them out in the Johnny Manziel era, they never wore them, like not once, because the the white numbers on an orange jersey is like impossible to see on a broadcast.
Oh, okay, sure.
So they're really not crazy about that idea. As many times as Nick Carnes wants to tweet it, it's probably not going to happen.
All right, so we'll put the orange jerseys to bed. The Browns' top draft pick this year will be.
I like a wide receiver. Once again, I'm going to go with our guest on this.
Are we a wide receiver show, Chris?
Yeah, Keon Coleman out of Florida State. I don't know if he's going to drop. The guy from Western Kentucky. I don't know. I like either of those. I love that he brought up Michael Hall, defensive tackle. I think that's a little bit of a reach, but I would love to see. Anytime we're bringing Buckeyes onto this team, I'm a honk for that, and I will take them. So I would love to see us fortify the middle of that line. But I think at the end of the day, Andrew Berry's going to go wide receiver.
I think he's going to go best player available, to be honest. I know that's such a lame answer, but this Browns team is so deep in so many spots.
I hope he does.
If Mike Hall is the best player on his board, sure, Mike Hall's the pick. If, Keon Coleman falls and that's the best player on his board, sure, that's the pick. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to call my shot. I'm going to go with Troy Franklin, wide receiver out of Oregon. It's a dude that they met with a lot throughout the draft. They met with Bo Nix, Oregon's quarterback. Obviously, the Browns aren't going to be drafting a quarterback in the first round. So I find it interesting that they met with Franklin's QB. I think he is the one that has the potential to still remain at 54. I think Lad McConkey's going to be gone. I think if they stay put at 54, it could be Troy Franklin. I'll say this, though, Chris. Look for Barry to trade down. I know fans hate it.
Yeah.
Look for him to trade down.
Acquire capital, trade back. Yeah, free beer tomorrow.
Yeah.
I know it. And, we're in a position now where you want to get quality. So if that means consolidating assets at this point, later on where you grab something rather than just drafting for quantity, I get it.
Another name that I like, too, that would surprise some people just because, David Njoku is so good and you don't really need a tight end. Jatavion Sanders from Texas is another dude that they met with. You got to keep your eye on that. I get Njoku is there, but who do they have after that? They lost Harrison Bryant, Jordan Aiken. Okay, I think if they could get a young, promising tight end that they like, Jatavion Sanders makes a little bit of sense. And I like that Samashia too, the right tackle that he was talking about. It's tough because DeJuan Jones is such a beast, but I'd take a flyer at Penei Sewell's cousin any day.
All right. Well, that'll do it for our fill in the blank. Let's take one more break. Not one more, but a break. And we'll be back with some big play bets right after this. Welcome back to the Big Play Cleveland show. Instead of bets, we've got Jensen Lewis here first, of course, joining us virtually to talk a little Guardians, who have been so hot right now. So welcome in, Jensen.
And Jensen, I believe we have vacation Jensen Lewis today. So we appreciate him joining us from the sunny beaches of somewhere. Jensen, how you doing?
I'm doing good, guys. This is tough to leave paradise today, but a good send-off with you guys, and you're right, Gab. Boy, what a great vacation to not only see our Cavs get that Game 1 victory, but, man, a sweep over the weekend for the Gardos, and the best record in baseball right now. It's been awesome.
Hey, are we going to extend Josh Naylor this year or what?
Yeah. Get right into it.
Coming in hot.
Yeah.
As long as he doesn't crush himself, hitting himself with his own bat, too many times, we should be okay, but guys, we talked a little bit about it before the season started, that would teams kind of pitch around Jose Ramirez if he was off to a great start and force a Josh Naylor or someone behind him to try and beat him. And this is the best case scenario here, right, guys, where you've got Josh Naylor off to such a scorching hot start, and Jose really hasn't even gotten going yet. And I think that's the scary of where this lineup could be when you're coming into this week knowing it's one of the best offenses in baseball statistically, and you don't have your very best player in the middle of it, so to say. As far as getting him extended, let's get the campaign started, right? I mean, he is such a great, great guy, not only on the field, but such a leader in this clubhouse. And you can see just how his teammates talk about him, how they gravitate to his personality and what he means to the group. So I would love to see it happen. And the way he's been playing, I mean, he deserves everything and every dollar that's coming his way.
What are we doing, Chris? Are we doing like #extend Naylor? Like what's the
get
move?
It started all
Naylor
across
extension.
social.
Yeah, and he's so well received here in Cleveland. You know, he's just so fun with our fans and everything. He's the perfect personality to be embraced.
For sure.
So we've talked about it a lot, Jensen. We've talked about this bullpen. Talk about a little bit, you see another week of just some great work out of that pen. Talk about that, and then also talk about a guy like Hunter Gaddis, who goes from being a starter on the team to being in the bullpen, and what that transition's like.
Guys, just as far as, Hunter's progression here, boy, what a weapon he has become there. And knowing that you weren't going to have Trevor Stephan at all this season, I know that this coaching staff was looking for a reliable guy to be able to plug in to that 8th inning and perhaps those leverage situations alongside Scott Barlow. You can make an argument that he's been their best reliever to this point because of what he's done and literally the results that he's been able to stack up here in just a handful of weeks, transitioning now full-time to a bullpen role. And, I went through it at the end of spring training in 2007. It was, one of those shock moments for me of, okay, that's usually where careers go to die, in the minor leagues. Is if you get transitioned out of a starting role, then, that can be real difficult to find your way to the big leagues. It was really the opposite. And I'll give Ross Atkins a ton of credit because he really talked me into saying, hey, not only are you capable, but we think it's going to accelerate, your ability to get to the big leagues faster. And for Hunter Gaddis, yeah, probably mixed results as far as the starts go. But I think the other part of this is now as a bullpen guy, he can just unleash the beast. He can just have the furious fastball for 3 outs, maybe an inning and change if they need him to lengthen out. But couldn't be prouder of how he's handled the transition to this point. Now let's see how it materializes through the next few months because, yeah, you can get off to a great start. But as teams kind of understand how you're going to attack them late in games, they'll make their adjustment. But right now, boy, it's tough to ask for anything more than what he's done for the back end of that bullpen.
Jensen, another thing, speaking of bullpen, Stephen Vogt has had a pretty quick hook on the starting pitchers. It's not like necessarily a bad thing. It's just something that I've noticed, he manages the game a little bit differently than Tito. He's really quick to pull these guys. Is this going to be a trend in your mind, or do you think that this is just a smart, calculated move because it's April?
Yeah, I think there was probably a conversation not only with Steven and his philosophy with the front office, but also, we think about last year too, guys, and having Bieber and McKenzie with the injuries for significant time. You relied on Tanner and Logan and Gavin to really not only exceed their thresholds innings-wise as a professional in a single season, but they did it in a significant number. And I think that was probably a focus at the beginning of spring training was to let the bullpen guys know that, guys, this is probably going to be our mindset at least through April and maybe the middle of May, just so we can, keep the rotation healthy. You want to get through those games and not burn out your bullpen. But I think there was probably a message delivered to all those guys in both not only the rotation but the bullpen as well, and say, fellas, we need to try and get you through the whole regular season and what we hope would be a long October run in the postseason. So I think it was a concerted effort. Probably you're seeing it play out so far, Nick, that as long as those guys are getting their recovery in between starts and doing those necessary things, which we've seen so far, it's going to really allow them to be pushed, in August and September when you might have to rely on those guys being able to pick up a bullpen that may have been used a bit, through a couple of road trips or homestands. So I think they're doing it really well right now, but I'm convinced that probably before they left camp, it was a modus operandi of, hey, guys, be ready. And everyone's going to be a piece of the puzzle here. We need everyone to be able to contribute.
So talk about the schedule coming up now. We've got Boston again. We've got Atlanta. We got Houston. We're going to learn a lot about this club, aren't we?
Chris, I think I told you guys that too when we got into the Yankee series and then going up to Fenway was, all right, it's really nice to win every series so far up to that point. And, even with the rain out, the 2 games, the doubleheader and then the walk-off against the Yankees, I think it was a good test for that group. I think I even mentioned that to you guys that we'll learn a lot about, not only going through the Yankees, but always a tough place to play at Fenway. And with Boston pitching the way that they had to start the season, it was going to be a great test for this offense. Well, this offense goes out and puts it on them for 3 out of the 4 games, and was really convincing. Also coming home against Oakland, and I think Hedgie was quoted as talking about, hey, this might be a trap series. We can't let that happen. We got to keep the momentum going. I think it's a great way to look at it. Now you get intrigued, especially about this Atlanta Braves series, because we know they're arguably the best team in the National League, right up there with the Dodgers. They're as deep a lineup as you'll face, but we'll see where the injuries are. I know Ozzie Albies was on the IL here. We'll see if he's healthy to come off or not. But all the way through that lineup, power, speed, athleticism. This Guardian rotation particularly, I think, is going to have to be very careful second and third time around the lineup. And then, guys, I'm blown away right now about how tough it's been for Brixton. When you think about how good that offense looks on paper, to see them struggle really in that back half of the lineup, and then also have the inconsistencies of the back end of the bullpen. Guys, on paper, Josh Hader, Ryan Presley, Brian Abreu should have been knockdown, drag out. If they had the lead after 6, that's it, curtains. It has not been that way, and it's just so befuddling to try and figure out how Houston has been, quote-unquote, this bad. At this point, Gardo's just got to keep playing. Just keep doing your thing and really find out a little bit more about your group when you go up against these really good teams.
Love it.
All right, let's take one break, and are we coming back with Jensen, or we got to let you go? Enjoy your vacation.
Let's let him.
Guys, I'm going to jump on the plane. Yeah, I'm jumping on the plane, and I'm anxious to bring the warm weather back. It looks like it's going to work out for us. But it's been a great trip, and look forward to talking to you guys again next week.
Hey, before you go, speaking of trips, Kyle Manzardo, is he going to be making a trip up to the big club anytime soon?
Chris, I think I told you guys maybe in that first week or second week, I said, I don't think it's a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. And it was really going to be predicated on, obviously, what's the club doing at the big league level. But, it may be one of those, he's going to force his way here. And with the power starting to come around here the last week or so, that's a great, great sign. And let's see what happens. We will take as much offense as possible up in Cleveland.
Well, thank you, Jensen, for spending the rest of your vacation with us. I know we could just keep chatting Guards all day. I know I wanted to ask you last thing, maybe someone you're most excited about seeing so far, or who's kind of coming into their own, because I have somebody in mind that I'm really have enjoyed watching.
Yeah, I think from the position player side, Gab, it's probably been Kwan. Just the huge leap he's taken this year, and the consistency of his at-bats. We knew the plate discipline for the last year or so was his calling card, but now just the amount of balls in play, the amount of hard hit balls each game, each day out, I think has been probably the most impressive thing for me. And then on the pitching side, I'm just going to shout out my entire bullpen mates, man. We are like the forgotten people sometimes, but they are so important to success, and you can see how valuable they've been, with Voter being really conservative with those rotation guys day in and day out.
Multi-hit Quan. I was also thinking just lately in the past few games, Tyler Freeman's really coming out. He's showing out in the outfield, and then he's knocking guys in. He had a home run, so it's kind of fun to see him popping through too.
Yeah, you talk about a great transition, Gab, a guy that, was really unselfish in going into last year and also this year in camp to say, I don't care where I play. I just let me be a part of the puzzle here, and he has been awesome so far, no doubt.
For sure. He's an athlete. Well, Jensen, once again, thank you so much for your time. We'll see you next week. Have a very safe flight.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Jensen. We'll be back with more of the Big Play Cleveland show right after this. Welcome on back into the Big Play Cleveland show, our Big Play bets this week and every week on the show, brought to you by Tipico Sportsbook. Get up to 5% cash back on your bets over at Tipico. Sign up with our promo code Cleveland100, all caps, all one word, Cleveland100. Get up to 5% cash back, money that you could withdraw right out of your account Bet25. Get 100 with our promo code. You got to be 21 years or older to gamble in Ohio. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Guys, these Guardians parlays have been fun. This Quan over 1.5 hit has been printing cash for us. Eventually, Jose will heat up. Chris, this weekend, we have a battle of two of the best records in baseball as the Gardos will head to Atlanta to play the Braves. What are your thoughts on that series and player props that we should be looking out for?
I'll tell you one thing. Just from over the weekend, I'll add, not only are the Guardians playing really good ball, the White Sox are horrible.
Yeah.
So I had parlays all weekend long where I took the Guardians on the money line, and then I faded the White Sox. They were playing the Phillies. They just got crushed. So look for those opportunities, too, to fade other teams in the division like the White Sox. With the Red Sox coming in, this is going to be another tough series for the Guards. I like the way that we've been hitting a little bit. I think Jose is going to get into the mix a little bit more. I think we may see a home run out of him. I wish we could get the hit by pitch. I wish that was an option. Andres Jimenez, man, he has been getting hit, and he is a master at getting hit by pitch. So I'd love to throw that in if we could convince Tipico to go with us on that one.
A little birdie told me we're going to be able to bet on series outcomes very soon. So we'll be able to put a bet in before a series starts and have a bunch of different outcomes happen throughout, do some series-long parlays. Little birdie told me it's in the works.
That would make a lot of sense. So you say Jose Ramirez is going to hit a home run in this series. We see Josh Naylor is going to hit himself in the head with a bat at least once and maybe chuck a bat and also get a double. You know, something like that. That would be fun throughout a series.
Or like a Jose, did you say losing his helmet?
And Jose Ramirez losing his helmet, going around the bases. Yeah,
that because
that count going.
That counter is something special too.
It's up there already this year.
Yeah.
Like he's lost it a good couple of times already.
Shout out Zach Meisel.
Yep, Zach Meisel's counter has been strong for like 3 years or something.
Yeah. Alrighty, guys, we're gonna step aside. When we return, we're locking in NBA playoff Cavs Game 3 predicts as the series flips to Orlando. More of the Big Play Cleveland show. Don't go anywhere. Welcome on back into the Big Play Cleveland show. We're giving you guys some big play bets this week. We just hit Guardians and Red Sox. That's going to be an awesome series this weekend. Game 3, Thursday. So Thursday's going to be nuts, Chris, because we're going to have the NFL draft on one screen. Yeah. We're going to have Game 3 of the first round of the NBA playoffs. As the series goes to Orlando, I want to see the Cavs win that first Game 3 in Orlando.
Make a statement.
Statement right there.
And how are we going to make that statement? You're going to need Allen once again on the inside. I think you got to go over on boards, whatever that number's going to be. I like him double digits and high double digits once again in boards. I think he's really got a commitment this year, and we've seen it so far in the playoffs. Want to see that continue? How about Mobley for threes, too?
Oh, man. Has that been a fun bet?
A gimmick now.
Yeah.
It was a gimmick. Now it's becoming a little bit more of a weapon for the Cavs, so I like the over for Evan Mobley on threes.
All right, so we got over for Allen rebounds. We got over for Mobley on threes. Gab, do you have a leg that you want to sprinkle in?
Okay, I like those. Over on threes. Over on, what was your first one?
Over on threes. Over on Allen rebounds.
Yeah, Jared Allen rebounds.
How about a Donovan Mitchell?
Gonna go points, assists.
I'm gonna go points on Donovan Mitchell.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right.
I think that's a good bet.
All right, that's a fun bet.
He's the leader of this team. He's gonna have to lead them into Orlando, so I like that.
We're gonna need him, right? We need another dominant performance from him.
It's gonna have to travel elsewhere around the association. Make sure you guys check out Celtics Heat odds. Celtics for Game 2 opened as a 14.5 point favorite. That series is going to be crazy.
I'll tell you what.
Boston
that's going to be tough at the Garden.
Yep, that's going to be a lot, especially, too, if the Cavs have that series next. Look out for that first round matchup and bet on those games because that's going to be a tough draw for the Cavs in a couple weeks.
That's going to be an understatement. That's going to make New York look like child's play from last year when we get to Boston because I think they're a real buzzsaw right now coming out of the East. But hey, if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best, and we're going to get our shot.
And crazy things are happening all throughout these playoffs. The Pacers weren't able to beat Milwaukee in game 1, and they were without Giannis Antetokounmpo. So the East is crazy right now.
No real surprises right now, right? You see a lot of favorites winning so far, not only in the NBA, but also in the NHL, taking you onto the ice. We're seeing a lot of favorites over there. So for betting, just kind of keep that in the back of your mind.
Yep. Make sure to follow along with us. Lock in some parlays. Download the Tipico Sportsbook app. When you do, use promo code Cleveland100. When you bet $25, you're going to get $100 bonus bets back on us. Have some fun. Lock in these bets with us, and we will see you guys on the Big Play Cleveland show next week.